La 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 la. Can hear it. Okay, everyone. Today I am going to do some things, and you are going to watch me do them. So we are looking at this, which is our stream plan. So what we're going to start to do is I want to sort of briefly explain my thought process behind making this sort of extension for the Left 4 Dead map. Just a bit tea. So yeah, I'm going to walk through my thought process on sort of what elements I wanted to add to the map, mostly kind of quarantine zone. I'll show you a bit of that later. Um, then I'm going to kind of walk through how I think that would actually take shape in the map. And then we're gonna go into hammer for a bit, and if I'm not too sleepy, we'll go into hammer and kind of just play around, see how it actually looks in the 3D world, because what I'm gonna show you is just mostly like 2D stuff. Okay, so let's go to the Miro board. So I've had this Miro board for a while now. It's kind of my bread and butter to the park that I've been making in Hammer Editor. Um, Basically just taking all of the images of random things around the park, getting rough measurements of it. No, I've been putting thought into this, guys. No, I'm not just throwing shit together here. A lot of shit that goes on behind the scenes that you're not witnessing. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, so we got all these bits and bobs. I want to divert our attention to this basketball court area, kind of where I see this location maybe living. It's kind of my number one spot. We'll have to see how it kind of works in engine though before I kind of jump into that. But um, so we have this basketball court. Basically, what I've been wanting to do is in my city, London, I'm sure in many other places during COVID, we had sort of fit to fly swab areas that also became vaccine. No, actually, those were just pharmacies, but we would have these areas that were swab test just to get you certificates to make sure that you were fit to fly or go into like workplaces and stuff like that. They looked like really dystopic and pretty shit. Um, so I kind of tried to. There isn't also a lot on the internet to find these things, which is kind of weird. But I sort of made this little mood board here. This is like kind of the largest inspiration, this sort of one image here. So you can see there's like a sort of walkway where they would usher you in to this reception tent, where then they would then sort of ask for your details, your appointment, to make sure like you had an appointment, all that stuff. And then you would go into these trailers where you would get the swab test done. Um, that was kind of it. Then you would just leave. Yeah, there's a lot of fences, and there's sort of the main three elements are this walkway, this reception tent, and then these larger trailers where the medical staff would actually be. Here's some more images. It's all pretty bleak. It's pretty sad looking, as you can see. So then, yeah, kind of drew that out. COVID test center breakdown. So we had zone one. This is sort of an imaginary one. So we had zone one where you would be ushered in through a sort of walkway and then brought into this first reception area, which was mostly like security, making sure that people were stopping and like being well into the queue. Not that like it's hard to tell British people to queue up. But then we had zone two, which was sort of the main reception area, the big tent, so to speak. Um, Kind of iconic in containment disease outbreak vibes, if you can say that. And that's basically where like the initial nurses would be to check you in. And then you had zone three, which was the actual test facility. Right. So we have our sort of main like thing that I've been trying to communicate to you guys for a while, but this is what it would look like. Now, what we have to do is we have to take this, which was a very real thing, and now imagine it in a world where now there are zombies and they want to kill you, but you also need to sort of sort between who is infected and who isn't, who can safely make it to a sort of evacuation station. So that's what we did, what I did. So a green flu test center could look the same from like gameplay in Left 4 Dead. It kind of looks the same. There's always the sort of ushering in once again, but this time there's now defenses, military personnel. Um, there's a lot more of an idea that you're having to keep people out of it. So that's kind of reflected in the design of like the fences and the sort of fortifications near it. Is that now you have people that are aggressively trying to get in, or like the infected, or also people trying to flee the infected and just like find a safer place to go. So that's kind of one of the main things. Um, and then I would also say that in the case of the COVID center, you're planning to still stay in your city. There isn't a need for evacuation. But in the case of something like the green flu, you're looking to like go to these places to be evacuated. You're trying to get out of the city. And it kind of works well with Peeps Park because it's right next to the Thames. So we can sort of imagine how the evac buses would maybe carry people towards the Thames, where they could then get on boats to eventually escape the city. So in a way, it's like a fit to fly. It's basically the same concept as the COVID centers, but there's an aggressor trying to get into this place at the same time, and someone being infected also means that it can compromise the entire thing. So this sort of zone one area is much more, um, a lot more security around it. Okay, so how would that look in Peeps Park? Well, like I said, I kind of want to keep it into the basketball court area. The more I think about it, though, it could sort of be put in the center of the park, and that could still work well as a holdout area because you'll have the holdout area here. Because what I wanted to do is, I discussed in the previous video, is that I wanted you to hold out in the basketball court area, and then you have to make your way back here to get sort of supplies and stuff. But I think it could also work in the center of the map, and it would make maybe a bit more sense to have such a larger area dedicated to this COVID center. But yeah, as I was saying, you would have the test center and then evacuation to the boats. Bus takes you to the Thames, which is basically like right here. Um, yeah, that's kind of as before you actually start the survival world, that was like your probably your intention as the player for that backstory. You've come to Peeps Park. It's one of the only military evacuation zones left in the city, and you have to be identified and correctly examined before you're allowed to safely be onto evacuation buses to then depart into the hopeful safety of the Thames. So now we have to think about how did we actually end up in this survival situation in Left 4 Dead? So what went wrong? What is the player's story? Well, that's not it right now. So the story is we're in an NHS evacuation center. Non-infected personnel are brought to the Thames to be evacuated. Eventually, in this scenario, the camp is overrun by infected at one point. Your evac driver is also unfortunately infected, and you have to escape. So the bus would crash sort of in the corner of the park here, and that's where your player start would be. So you're kind of starting in this complete aftermath of the military zone being overrun, emerging from a burning bus, probably a few moments after the fighting, because you're probably unconscious underneath the bus for a bit. And then the story would go that you have to make your way back to this evacuation center to maybe contact someone, or it'd be your only hope at this point to sort of go back to the center and hold out, as we are saying. So what would that look like? The actual story? I kind of also did some doodles. You know, you and your fellow survivors are getting your initial checks. Get a second check for the green flu, and then you begin to queue for evacuation onto the bus. while constantly being surveilled by different military personnel, always on the lookout in case that you are infected or something like that. Then infected make their way over the walls that are covering the perimeter. Somehow, someone may be sleeping. You can fill that part in, but they get in. Um, like in most cases, no one stands a chance against the infected. So the place gets overrun. The bus tries to escape in a sort of brisk move, but as is the case in pretty much every Left 4 Dead campaign start, the driver of your escape vehicle is actually infected, causing the bus to crash, and that's where your player start is. So now we head back for the start of our map. Okay, this is sort of how I imagined a quick mock-up of that would look like within the basketball court. All right, so storyboard the map. So let's create our plan for this. How are we going to implement this? Usually I can use my ThinkPad to sort of write stuff out, but I'm actually using that to display on the camera right now, so that's not going to work. But I think, I think I'm just gonna open up Hammer and we'll play around with this a bit, sort of see how it actually looks within the map. So let's do that. Let's get Steam open. Hello? Okay, my audio is still on. Okay, so let's open our authoring tools and let's launch. So let's open Hammer World Editor. Yikes. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so here we have Hammer open. I'm kind of tempted. No, actually, I'll keep it here. Delete these. Okay. Just getting a double check of what we have. And I'm thinking I almost want to just kind of make this in a separate world to start. Just to no, let's try do it here. Okay. This is just a one-way. What I also want to do is maybe get some fences. I think if we block it out with the fences first, it will kind of thing also sort of fit into place. So let's get a pop static. And let's just go for a really scary looking fence. Something that like you would not want to climb. Hmm, I'm almost wondering if these are too effective. Grid can be a bit larger. Just you'd want these pointed out because you don't want people climbing over that. Let's just see how that looks. We put a bunch of them in. Shift to duplicate. Nice. This is kind of the issue that I sort of foreseen happening. But now I feel like it's very busy in this part of the map. Like, kind of everything is here. You have good cover, a lot of different things going on. And you know what? Let's go like that. Copy it there. Copy all of these as well. There's different props I got. Let's see. Also just put it there. And I'm just gonna hide all of this. It's sort of making my brain do bits just to see all this stuff. Okay. More. Okay. Alright. It's all of our stuff. Actually, this is not the right idea. I need to see I'm just trying to figure out the best way to like actually see all of this. Kind of hard with all the noise of the map to sort of understand where all of this is going. But let's just truck on through, get a basic shape going, and then we can figure out what we're doing wrong here, if we're doing anything wrong. Might not be doing anything wrong. Everything might be fine. I'm the one with the problem. Because I'm just going crazy. I'm literally talking to myself right now. Yeah, to myself. Just like one of those things where it's like, you just have to fucking do it. And then you'll see how you actually do it. That made sense. Great description of what you're doing. Okay. Let's just quite literally mirror what I had on my mirror board. There we go. We have our sort of fans here. And now I think about it, there's actually a trailer from Hard Rain campaign that might be better than that. Because you can walk into it, not the Airstream. The CETA ones would be good if they didn't say CETA on them. Might have to just look into it. Might have to just open that map to get it because I'm also not sure if it's a prop or not. I don't think it's a brush. Yeah. I don't know if it was a brush or not. It's really so hard to find props on this thing. Okay, yeah. I'm not gonna waste time like this. Let's open up. Nope. Dude, you can see everything in my possession. For Dead 2. Okay. It's Milltown, Sugar Mill. Hey, let's do that. Dummy. Save. Spam save. File open. We'll go to documents. Left 4 Dead Mepigas. Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead 2. And Sugar Mill. Yeah, basically there's just a really specific trailer here that I like that I think would work a bit better than the one that obviously really looks like a food court trailer. Actually, there might be something else here I could steal. These brushes. get a bit carried away with this just because it's kind of fun seeing all the things that Valve actually built compared to, I mean, they built everything. That's kind of, you know what I mean? Like, what's a prop in like all this brushwork? Yeah, function detail. Pretty cool. Someone made that just like I'm making stuff right now. Someone made everything. Oh, these are displacements. That's kind of fun. These roofs here. Ew. Just made the side of these displacements. Someone on the internet would fucking roast me. They saw me do that. Like, that's not. You gotta look out for that. Whatever. I'm the bad guy. Bit big. I know exactly which one I want. Just stalling so I can talk to you guys more. Actually, don't know exactly where it is, apparently. There we go. This. Oh, full on brush. It's a bit cheeky to steal this. It's a bit much. That's a prop. Whoa. Man, that's a prop. Hmm. To be fair, it doesn't really give the same sort of vibe as what I wanted. Or is what I was thinking. I'm gonna take this water glue though, it's kind of fun. Gotta take something when you're looking for inspiration. Inspiration from people who did it best. Right? It's for the survivor one. I know there was a survival variation of this map. Pretty cool. It's a prop. Also a prop. Or this stream is now just becoming me figuring out what's a prop and what isn't. What is this? Survivor rescue? Okay, pal. Whatever you say. And uh, I, I'm such a fucking noob with all this. I have no idea what most of this shit does. Mm, You guys like it though. Like watching me struggle do the most basic task in this fucking amazing software. Okay, cool. Now let's go back to my map and like actually do something about this. Look at all these props. Yeah, and sort of. Let's just build out our world, but they probably need this sort of thing. Let's maybe look for an actual bus for our evac bus. I mean, ideally, ideally we would have it be a London double decker bus, but I ain't about to do all that. If someone really wants, they can model me a bus. I'll use that. But a regular bus like this will be fine. Now, it might not make the most sense that the bus is here, but like also like a zombie apocalypse makes it absolutely no fucking sense. So, like, where do we draw the line on logic? As far as I'm concerned, in this situation, I can draw the line. Excuse me. I can draw the line wherever the fuck I want. Okay, this isn't looking too bad. Just like where do people enter? Sorry. Sometimes I just make weird noises. This isn't really here. Maybe we kind of get away with making it this. Have that be the sort of entry place. Maybe we'll attach this a bit more to the fence to make it a bit more. Part of the fence rather than being just stuck into some concrete. That's a bit too much. Whatever. Okay. I'm still not convinced about it being in the basketball court now. I really think doesn't make much sense. Why would you do that? I guess the tarmac gives it a sort of like I don't think they would ever build something like this in Peeps Park, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think there's some other parks that they would do this in first. But it's called fiction, dog. It needs another. I just need something other than that. Like bugging me. This is a fucking airstream, man. Whatever. Placeholders. All placeholders. Nothing needs to be a final, beautiful thing. think this is just gonna work so much better. I want it to be in the basketball court. Like I wanted that to be the holdout position because players were kind of naturally drawn to it. But like also now we're creating like a reason for them not to be naturally drawn to somewhere. Like we're kind of making this a bit more artificial by implementing like this sort of imagined thing. You know what I mean? So it's like the fact that it needs to be doesn't need to be anywhere. It's like a very important. I can just model this a lot more easily too, and then try to have it fit around like a basketball court. You know? Okay, I didn't make that very smooth. So let's go back here. Dun dun dun. Go. Nice. Okay, better. Take that. Rotate that. Actually, wait, no, do it like that. And we'll do it one more time. Definitely be a lot bigger than that, but let's just do this to start. We've done the props first. And that one there. Okay, cooking. Fat, we're cooking. Sorry. Nice. There. 5. Okay. I'm liking this. This is feeling a lot better. Maybe now we think about how we'll be entering it. You on these both ends. Okay. It wouldn't be grass like that. Okay. Okay, so we have our little area. Think about it, probably just be like straight up like this. Just a forward-facing sandbag. Needs to be a bit more like planted in just like the corners and stuff. Here, this area. We'd have another one here. Like that, like that. There's like an outpost one. Probably not. Watchtower. No, you ain't got nothing like that. But maybe we can do. Should have the dead bodies like wrapped up in the Sita hazmat stuff. All dead bodies. This is pretty good. We're just putting in little details. Yeah, that's fucking perfect. Ignore that it says CETA. If I could have it say NHS, I would, but I can't. There was a crossover in training. I was looking for just the ones in body bag, 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 body bag. Why did they all say CETA? Alcohol. Nobody care about CETA, man. Okay, well, uh, body bag 1, body bag 2. Like doing it a few times isn't the worst thing. I mean, with this CETA stuff. Problem is that if you have too much like of these like sort of very like known names within the file, in the map, it's a bit too much like everywhere. Like all of a sudden, like this is like a thing that's based in London or is it in America? You gotta be like careful with that, you know? At this point, okay, so this is gonna be the end of the facility. So we have the sort of end of the facility here. People will you get walked in here, get your early checkup. This will be a sort of, I don't know if this will really be anything. Maybe you get more for like the military personnel, our sort of swap tents, and then eventually we get to our evacuation, just back here. See, that looks at the bus. Ooh. Right. Bus is facing fucking backwards. That's fine. It's not even an English bus, so it don't matter. Alright. So this is what I got so far. I'd say I'm the biggest fan of this. Take a look back at the mirror board. Kind of distance ourselves from it again. Let's look at what it was actually like for COVID again. Hmm. I think maybe it'd look better if I emphasized the sort of queuing aspect of it. Like I said, that was sort of like an important thing, having this queue in zone one. So yeah, let's divide it again into zones. So we have the queue of like, you can only get it on one person at a time before they check to see if you're affected or something. We need to make sure that that queue is like really well defined to show the entrance of this facility. Yeah, what are we looking like in here right now? Yeah, because like if you imagine just a ton of people trying to evacuate London, like they're just gonna rush this. Even if you got people with guns, like they're running away from people like fucking zombies. Yo, welcome Elliot to the chat. Yeah, I don't know how much more life I got in me getting sleepy, gang, but we got 4 viewers right now, so I'll stay up a bit later for you guys. I hope you know. Um, yeah, as I was saying, if you're in a zombie apocalypse and you just see this huge gate to get into the thing, people are just gonna surge into the entrance. So there has to be a bit more of an organization to it. And let's see how that would look with different fences, maybe. If we type in barrier, that's it, lame. Like I was saying, like the more props that I use, the less English this is becoming. That's kind of my biggest worry. Not English enough, mate. You know what I mean? Um, we get people to go queue behind these barriers. Do another one like that. Got these bad boys. Oh my god. Boop, boop. Oh, fuck off. Stupid fucking grass, man. I'm thinking again, like, this isn't the most like non-threatening barrier. You know, if I'm running at you in a zombie apocalypse, like I'm just gonna try and dash over this police barrier. But I guess, it's like a pretty simple thing to set up, so I could see it working canonically in this story. Or is that just me trying to be too lazy to actually set up these really fiddly barriers? That's for you to decide. They just hate being selected. What the fuck, man? Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Now maybe if we just copy all of that, shift, rotate, brain not work. Why brain not work? 'Cause- okay, looking pretty cool. Then we want this to touch the fence, just like that. And then we can, to be fair, this makes sense. Like, if someone's pointing a gun at me, I would queue in this. I would think like, hey, they got guns. They can defend against these zombies. And B, like, pretty well, amazingly organized barriers, if you ask me. I'd be happy to wait in these beautifully organized uh, railings. Oh my God. We'll go back and like tip some of these over too to show like sort of that chaos that I'm trying to bring of this evac center being overrun. Oh, stupid fucking bushes, man. Oh my God. Whoa, 7 people. Hello, hello, 7 people. Actually, there's quite a few of you, so I'm just gonna do because I've been chatting to myself for I think it's been yeah, I've been chatting myself for like an hour now. So I'm just gonna fill everyone in on what I've been doing real quick, just so because right now you're just watching me get really annoyed trying to fucking select barriers. So let me jump that real quick. So here's our stream plan. I was kind of done. So uh, basically, I wanted to add that holdout position I was talking about in a reel a while back, where in the survival map you're gonna want to be in one location with your team that's pretty well defendable, and then go out and sort of def like get supplies or new weapons. Um, like I pulled the map here. Actually, I have it open hammer. You know, I moved it into the center park. Originally, it used to be the basketball court, but I kind of like it better a bit in the center. You're in this sort of middle position that's gonna be easy to defend. There'll be like mounted turrets. Um, I'll play around with it a bit more, so it's just like a bit of a better location to be in as the survivors. And then around it will be like the sort of essential supplies that you'll need to like actually last more than like 10 minutes. Um, but like I've been struggling to like actually design it. That's kind of the whole point of this is that I've been struggling to like actually kind of put together what this would look like. So I've been creating a little story for it, um, kind of inspired by the COVID swab tents. This is kind of the main inspiration of it. These swab tests that you would get before you were given like fit to fly certification during COVID. You see, it's pretty bleak and pretty depressing looking. Um, and then I kind of broke it down into these drawings where it's, if your zone one is like where you would queue up to like actually wait before you're brought in to be tested. Zone two is like the sort of reception gazebo where you are like given like you show that your phone so you have an appointment and like that's cool. And then zone three is where you actually get like your mouth swabbed to see if you had COVID, and then you would leave. But then like how would that look in a zombie apocalypse? Well, I have no idea, but let's think about it. Um, well, the idea of like it being orderly and queued is that's kind of what you want. You want the structure in these places. Um, but you also need to sort of have the knowledge that people are going to want to come in and fuck shit up and kill you and eat you. I actually don't know if they eat. Yeah, they do eat the people in Left 4 Dead, I think. Anyone know that? If like the zombies actually are like flesh eating hungry or they're just like mega violent. Anyway, um, so you're trying to keep out the infected, and probably the ultimate goal of like these sort of centers wouldn't be like to give you a certificate to say that you're not infected because no one cares. It'd be like for evacuation to get you out of the location. So you're in the evac bus and in Peeps Park, it's like located right next to the Thames. So like it would make sense that you would go on an evac bus, brought to the Thames, where you're eventually brought onto a boat and you leave. See? So you go to the boats. So here's kind of the story behind it. It'd be like you're in an NHS evac center. Um, Non-infected personnel are brought to the Thames to be evacuated. Eventually, the camp might be overrun, and then in true Left 4 Dead fashion, your evacuation driver is infected um, with green flu, um, and you have to escape your evacuation bus, and that's where the player start would be from like the sort of ruins of your evacuation bus. Um, and then you make your way back to camp where you would eventually call for like new evac, which is basically just starting the survival mode. So you have your play start and your game start. Just sort of a storyboard of how that would look. So you imagine these are the survivors. You come into the camp, get your initial checkup, second checkup, you queue for your evac bus, infected break through somehow, and like they always do, they have the regular people have no chance against the infected. Bus tries to escape, driver's infected. You get the gist. And this is sort of my first concept of it, what it would look like in the basketball court. It's like as I was kind of um thanks Tammy for the feedback. Yeah, I think they do just small. You're right, Elliot. Thanks and Big Me 617. Um yeah, I tried to think about that in the basketball court, but then I was kind of like, why the fuck would they put it in the basketball court? It's kind of weird. Like, it's kind of lacking in space. Even though it's on tarmac, it kind of makes sense. It doesn't make sense. But basically, there would be turrets. in a fenced area. That's kind of the gist of what I've been saying, if any of that made sense. Yeah, let's go back to Hammer and watch me play around with it. So hopefully that kind of makes a bit more sense as to what I've been doing here. Right now I'm kind of constructing it, what it would look like. Um, I'm making what it would look like before the zombies come. And then once like all the structures are there, I'll tip over some fences, add some more dead bodies, all that good stuff. Make it look gruesome and shit. Cool. Back to me trying to select this stupid goddamn barrier. Here we go. We're good. Ah, fuck you. A. Hmm. I don't think it would be as welcoming as a few gazebos seem. Now that I think about it, I think we're more in the territory of having it be sandbags and machine guns pointed at you while you're queuing up. That makes sense. Gazebo could come after. I think we can get rid of this guy for now. Drag him over there. I like these gazebos better. They're more pandemic feeling. See, they didn't know that when they were designing Left 4 Dead, but like now I know it's more pandemic feeling. It's kind of the edge I have over the original developers of Left 4 Dead. Not to brag or anything. So, sandbags there. Yo, chat is blowing up. 13 people are watching? Insane. Insane that all these people are seeing my dark self as I'm basically just rotating the same props over and over again. I'm glad it seems like it's entertaining. So thanks for watching, everyone. Let's keep going. Let's just put a big old machine gun right there. See how that looks. Not big enough. That's okay. Video game magic allows me to go like this. That's a terrible place to have a machine gun, really. Yeah. I think we could put him here, actually. But I shouldn't be thinking about the dead bodies yet. Um, yeah, maybe I repeat the same thing on the other side for the bus. Oh, fuck you. Ah, fuck you. Nice. Ah, fuck you. Nice. Nice. Hey, yo, chat, clip that. Perfect selection. I hate that I said that, but I love it too. I mean, this is purely off the idea that British people like to queue. That's why there's so many queues being made right now. True though. Sort of tilt it like that. But it has to be the other way around. Gosh. All right, so now let's start thinking about like I think this is a good like sort of start to it. We have the sort of what it would be in COVID sort of um mapped out. But now what we need to do is bring in the idea that there's flesh hungry zombies after you. So let me see first if I can cheat this by not having to design anything. I'm getting sleepy. Let's see if there's a prop that I can just use instead. Okay, we look at platform. Like something that is elevated that if you were a guy with a gun. Barrier tier list, definitely concrete barrier. Regular old Jersey barrier is the goated barrier. Sorry, we're just gonna go on a tangent. This is definitely my favorite barrier. Just nice, simple, does the job. Um, Police barrier sucks, you can't select that. Um, and then this other barrier, this one here, like what's that gonna do? Like we're if we're in the situation of apocalypse, like what's that gonna do? Nothing. It's a traffic like it's literally just a traffic barrier. This one feels like it's a bit cheating though. It's a bit too intense. That's low. I don't need that much barrier. Yeah, that's a quick tier list. Um, let's get back to it. I wanted to find a platform of some kind. Maybe military. Mili I'm heavily dyslexic, everyone said, and forgive me for not being able to spell military right now. Militia. Okay. It's looking like I can't be lazy right now. That's how you spell military. I'm crazy. Maybe the lighthouse one has platforms of some kind. What the fuck's going on? Why can't I see anything? Okay. Ah, there's a space. Always check for spaces, everyone. Gonna, what did I just see? That's way too big. Doesn't make sense. Maybe like some stairs would sort of lead me to the right path that I want to go down. Okay, no. Okay, I'm gonna quickly Google um, defensive platform. I don't fucking know. Sorry. Um, yeah, that's not gonna help me. Let's have a look here again. Mhm. I do like how these actually kind of lead directly into the tent. Kind of a fun detail. And then the tent sort of is the exit. I'm gonna not get lost in the sauce of platform making for an elevated gun that might not even work well at all. Let's just kind of. Oh, I lost all of those. When you forget to hold shift, this is what you gotta deal with. Always make sure you've duplicated your things before you move on with your life. Fuck you. There you go, motherfucker. Ah, okay, so let's shift. Okay, copied. And we're back here. And we just rotate that again. And maybe we just like kind of have these barriers. I mean, that's like sort of the, I don't want to say charm of it, the, the charm of the pandemic throwing out temporary barriers is that they were very like temporary and like they might maybe weren't like the most well thought out thing. They were just like, we need to make sure people go here. And yeah, I think maybe having a bit more of this like snaky structure would work a bit better. We're gonna do that instead. Yep, just a bit more snake-like, less thought out. You know, it was some bloke that probably did all this. Some random ass guy. Didn't have much time to think about the ergonomics of queuing. To be fair though, this is London. I'm making this map for. Maybe someone did very much think about the implications of queuing for pandemic center. Dude, actually, fuck all these bushes. Just hide all of them. Should have done that to start, but if you didn't know by now, I'm a lover of a shortcut. That's kind of cute, maybe. Let's just snake all the way inside. Make sure nothing's overlapping in an ugly way. Nice. Mm. Don't like that, and I don't really know how to fix that. This like little gap here. Back shrimping too long. Ugh. What would a military camp look like? Yeah, like a sort of raised platform. I thought I should, okay. In my mood board, I kind of completely missed maybe, oh my god, everything. Like if I'm combining like military and COVID, I should have just had some photos of the military to start off with. Let's just see. What are they doing here? Good sort of thing. A bit less constructed, maybe? Yeah. Oh, that's nice. I'm gonna I'm gonna copy that image and paste it. It feels like more put together. That's why I kind of like this one, opposed to this. Like this seems like something that took some time to construct, whereas we're kind of looking for almost like Minutemen militia sort of like the military's in control, but they ain't in control. They don't know what they're doing. It's classic zombie film, man. Like no one knows what they're doing in the zombie apocalypse. Like you can be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go hold out here and I'll fight off all the zombies here. No, you're gonna die in the zombie apocalypse. Simple facts. Not that guy. I don't know why I went on that tangent, but I did. That's also pretty good. The resting on a crate um, ladder up from a crate meta seems to be pretty strong in military camps. Out of the two images that I've pulled up, they seem to like this vibe of hut on top of crate. And I'm kind of liking it too. Seems to be working pretty well. You simply couldn't, Elliot. I mean, to be fair, you do have like the that northern cold weather. It's always the paradise location in zombie films, going up to the colder climates. So you probably do well with that. I'm fading, guys. I had two kiwis tonight, so I'm full of melatonin too. Slowly seeping through my blood, making me all sleepy. I don't know why there's so little images. Um, uh, what would you call like the military camp outlook? Military camp sniper? Yes? No. Maybe the military camp entrance. Why is it always just this fucking one? What even is that? Yeah, exactly. It's unfair. I mean, I feel like my advice stretches uh, anyone in an urban place, like you're done. Like slightly urban even. Yeah, exactly. They would just wait for the Canadian winter to freeze them to death and then gosh. That looks pretty DIY. That looks like pretty terrible construction. Was that just like a? Yeah, sorry. We're mood board boxing, gang. Okay, well, I don't know. Apparently, there's no such thing as like a military camp because, like, oh wait, what do they call it? A base? Uh, maybe I'll give it like army base. It's probably gonna be really helpful. No, that was not helpful at all. Okay, are we all seeing the vision? I'm seeing the vision. Let's see if Hammer sees the vision. Let's just steal this prop. Shipping container. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. It's gotta be containers, right? Oh, look at that. Look at that. That looks pretty threatening in like the correct kind of way. It is merged within the fence. Yeah, yeah. This is looking like it could be potentially maybe forming into a possible solution for my problems. Good old shipping container. Maybe let's change the skin for that. Whoa, 17 people are watching. That's crazy. Watch me, yeah. Maybe, maybe we go like, oh my god. Coming together, gang. Vision is visioning. Donnie. Oh, that felt weird. Let me just save real quick. You never know when Hammer's just gonna crash. Although, for being such an old program, the autosave on Hammer is actually pretty dang good. Like Photoshop ain't got shit on the ability that fucking Hammer has for autosaving. Hmm. Maybe this would just be more of like an actual regular old floodlight. Because who's hauling up that generator, you know? I wouldn't haul up that generator. bit more small and feeble, but I think I'll do quite well. And then you know what? We can just go back to our regular old sandbag technique. Like I said, we ain't got the time to, do proper fortification. Like, yeah, we can get a minigun for you, but that's all you're getting, really. Although if you think about it, like a minigun behind some sandbags is pretty useless in the scenario of a zombie apocalypse. I guess I guess in Left 4 Dead they kind of used some range on you, but they're not they're not really shooting back, if you know what I mean. Oop, do that. There. That looks like something. Ooh, we get to make a ladder. That is fun. That is fun. What did they have? They kind of had like a weird step up ladder thing. Raiders, but there wasn't really any, and there's no Raiders in the Left 4 Dead sort of universe, but I can kind of see that actually being fair. Like, I think as the survivors, you just kind of got lucky not bumping into those kind of guys. That's a good ladder. I feel like it's not Walking Dead where like the zombies are kind of useless. So like you kind of have to make the humans the problem. Like Left 4 Dead, the zombies are definitely the main issue. That's going on in the world. Well, I guess people were kind of raiding as well. Whoa, what the fuck? That floating. That is floating. Okay, gang. I'm kind of liking where this is going. I do gotta say, I'm probably just gonna go to bed in a second though. I am gonna test out what this. Um, I do want to see how this ladder works because I'm really excited about ladders. You gotta do a whole rigmarole to actually do the damn ladder. Here's you get a little box, you put the box around the ladder. Make sure it's just the size of the ladder. I'm curious to see it. What I'm actually curious is to see if I can make it so the ladder's tilted like it is. Which I think it'll work. Either you use the wrong texture, um, you want a no draw, bam, click that, do Control T, do some sorcery, turn to funk, and then I just think it's funny that there's a whole function ladder. Fine, I'll write it. Funk ladder. Why? That should kind of work. Does it need to be a different texture? Anyone know that? I know you have to do a certain texture for infected ladders. Dev measure. Yeah, maybe we just do that. Just oh, you stupid cow. Yeah, sure. I'll do the top two. See if that works. Yeah, this is actually shaping up to maybe potentially form maybe one day something that's kind of cool and meaningful. Pretty exciting. And yeah, the bus is like, it's gonna go wee, e, and then crash, get tipped over, goes classic Left 4 Dead. Like I said, oh, let's tip it over. Big crash. And then like imagine fire coming out of it. Maybe I'll do that real quick. I don't actually know how to do fire, but I know how to steal fire. And there's fire. There is fire in what map? What map do I know that there's definitely fire in? There's definitely fire in like every map, but I don't want to click twice. Measure once, open once, as they say. D5M3 cemetery. Defo gonna be some fire there. Sure, pal. Okay. I broke the whole map. I think I saved. Fuck, I don't think I did save. Hammer crashed. Need like a soundboard. See the damage here. Ah, not bad, not bad. It's all fine. Still function ladder? Yeah, we're fine. Save, 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 save. Open. Not rip Elliot, we're doing fine. We're trucking on through. We're gonna steal some more assets. Because there's a whole rigmarole to making fire, and I really don't feel like, you know, doing that. Um, Goddamn, what was it? It was cemetery. No, that worked. Nice. Because I know too much about this game, there is a gas barrel here. Um, Big. I think it's in the actual. It's actually in campaign before this. Big. Oh, is that a fire? That is a fire. Copy, copy. That's all I do. They call me paste the way I copy. Gosh, that there. Make it a huge game-breaking fire. 300. I don't know how this shit works, man. Okay, let's see if this map still runs. And then I'm gonna go to bed. Hey, it still runs. Hey, Amelia. We're actually on the tail end of the stream right now. I'm getting real sleepy. We're just gonna look through the map, see what I've done so far, see if it looks cool, and see if, like, it's. Yeah, glad you joined, though. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so my lighting's broken. That's kind of a fun. Is it broken? Yeah, it's totally broken. Yeah, I know why it's broken. I resized the whole map, by the way. Made it like kind of what would you say, like 0.2 bigger? If I can do that in fractions. Yeah, so the map is actually a lot bigger than it was before. That's why my lighting's broken, because probably my skybox is fucked. Anyway, this is our little camp. Let's delete some of this grass. I'll show you in here. And a table. Yeah, I already feel pretty secure in this. Bus is on fire. Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to sort of mimic like what the COVID swab test centers were like in London, um, mixed with like some military like intervention because yeah, it's the green flu, it's not COVID. See if my ladder works. Oh ho ho, that's pretty cool. Ladders. Gotta make it better go. Great. Okay. Gonna have to do some clipping, player clips and stuff. Yeah, cool. Um, that's that. Kind of a good first draft of what we're kind of looking at. I think definitely got the bones set in for it. Definitely a lot of tweaks that I want to make to this. It's like not there yet, but I've been like saying I wanted to do this for like 2 weeks now, but I haven't kind of envisioned what it would have looked like until today. So may not look like a lot of progress, but this is like quite a lot for what I've been putting off for it. So cool. Yeah, is that everything I wanted to do today? Yeah, sure. Cool. Um, thanks to everyone. There are 19 people watching this right now, or is that just the current? There's 4 people watching us. Well, to all the 4 people that are here right now, you're pretty cool. Um, so thanks for watching. Um, I'm gonna go have a nice little sleep now. I'll see you in the next stream. Probably won't be tomorrow. Maybe, I mean, it's just whenever I feel like I can work until 1 a.m. So it's really up to how I feel. Good night. Good night. Thanks for dropping in. See you guys around. Peace.